I very much appreciate, obviously all the well wishes. It does mean a lot to me on a personal level that our show resonates with so many people and that my life story has resonated with so many people. And I say that with the recognition that there are people out there that hate my guts, that don't like me, that wish I never got a second chance for whatever the reason is. And I love you guys too. If I'm living rent-free in your head at that level, that's your problem. It's not my problem. You do not negatively impact my life one bit. For everybody that appreciates the comeback story and is a part of it and wishes me well, I can never properly thank all of you enough, and certainly can't do it in person, although I wish I could. I will continue to do the public service show here on Saturday mornings called Hello, My Name is Craig. If nothing else, I truly believe and hope that my story and my comeback paves the way for thousands of comebacks and thousands of positive stories like mine. And I do believe it is a testament that once you start living your life honestly and openly and take ownership of your mistakes and are willing to ask for help and are willing to put the work in to not only get help, to make yourself a better person, to try to rebuild relationships, you can achieve anything you want in life. There is no such thing as the perfect person. We all make mistakes. Clearly, there are different degrees of mistakes that we make. But I will tell you that if I can come back and be successful on the radio, on TV, and recapture lost relationships and re-earn the trust and love and respect of people that I turned my back on, then it is not a cliche to say that anybody can do it. But it does not happen overnight. And I recognize that I'm a very, very lucky, very, very fortunate person to have been given this second opportunity really at life. And to that end, I want to thank more than anybody else, Chris Olivero. We call him the architect here. I'm well aware that I have no career without him. I certainly would not have been given the second opportunity without his love and support. And I'll leave it at that because he gets uncomfortable when I talk about him in that regard. To Tommy and Big Mac, when you guys first started working with us, you guys had both worked on other shows, and Tommy had worked with me and Boomer for a while in the mornings. I busted your guys' balls pretty good over the years. There's no doubt about it. And that's out of love also. And nothing will make me happier than to one day wake up and see you guys flourishing overnights and beyond. And hopefully that happens for both of you. And you always know that I will always be a resource for you guys if you ever need it. And I mean that sincerely. Paul, you as well in the back there has been a part of the show for the last year and a half. And Evan, I remember the day you came to my house with a box of rainbow cookies.
That's right.
And you said to me, why me? And I said, because Bart Scott said no.
And Boomer said no and taking me back.
By the way, Boomer said no. Bart Scott said no. Yeah, a lot of people said no.
You're very honest about that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll be very transparent. The first idea was to reunite Boomer and Carton. And for a lot of reasons, that was never going to happen. It really couldn't happen. With all due respect to everybody involved. We obviously talked to Bart, and ESPN wouldn't let Bart out of his contract. And that, I think, was, to benefit. I don't know if that show would have worked. I really don't. The way our show worked. And I love you and wish you the very, very best. You have done something that's not easy to do, and that is change the style of radio you do after 15 plus years of doing it really, really well. And that's like anyone. You go into, look what you do for a living that you do consistently one way for a very long time, and then you're put in a situation where you have to adapt to something new. It is not easy to do that, especially when you've got millions of people watching and listening who are dying for you to mess it up, dying for you to fail. So that's a kudos to you. It's been great, obviously, getting to know your family.
I appreciate it. You did make it easy for me, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I remember.
A great point guard makes it easy for someone, gives him the open look, gives him the easy bank shot, gives him the dunk. You were a very successful Jason Kidd-like point guard with me, and I appreciate that because it wasn't an easy transition.
I mean, it was easy for me.
Of course it was.
I just did what I do. And I would say to you, one of my favorite moments in this show's history is when I found out when you and your wife were having a random date night in New York City.
Oh, yeah,
and my daughter and I showed up at the restaurant, and I will go to my grave believing that your wife thought I was the waiter.
She thought you were a crazy fan is what she thought.
Well, whatever it was.
Look at these people. They're nuts.
And I'll just leave you with this. I do consider myself very, very lucky and very blessed to have this opportunity. I do not take it for granted. I did not make the decision to leave WFAN, in a split second. It took me a long time to get there. And the truth of the story is that my contract here expired October 31st last year. I have worked here without a contract for the last 9 months on a handshake with the architect that when I made my decision, I had all the time in the world to make it, that I would sit down with him and tell him I made my decision. And he was very gracious. And to be fair, so was Fox in allowing me to figure out the right way and the best way to make that decision. I made the decision to leave FAM because I just think it's the right thing for my family at this stage of my life. If you told me one day in the future I'd be doing radio again full time, I wouldn't be shocked. I love doing radio. Radio is all I've ever done really, really well and been successful at it. That being said, I am blessed with this amazing opportunity. There are not a lot of national TV shows in this country. There are really only 2 networks that do them, and I've been blessed with the opportunity and been given the responsibility to host one of those shows, and I take that responsibility seriously. And my hope is that I make that show on FS1 the most successful show on TV and on the network. And I recognize that there's only a handful of those shows that exist, and it's a great opportunity for me to be given to host one of those shows. And it's absolutely a work in progress, but I feel really good about the direction of it, and I think we're going to kick some ass this fall. And I could only appreciate those of you that listen to me here giving it a shot on TV. And I'll leave you just with one final thought, and that is just 2 simple words, which are thank you. Thank you for allowing me back on the radio. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for respecting my story and my journey. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to do what I love to do so much. I am very fortunate to have this opportunity and to be back on WFAN, and I don't take it for granted. And I hope that you're just as empathetic with other people in your lives that may need a second chance as well. But I'll leave you with this. I will miss WFAN a great deal. I appreciate all the support, and I will leave you with those 2 words. Thank you.